dude, what's happening, YouTube? So I've been talking about doing this housing fixture deal where you could just buy the DXF. So I finally, well, I'm not just finally working on it, but I'm always working on it. So I have one. I ran into a little snag. I was putting this into Cut Sen this morning, and 56 inches is the biggest part that you can do. So my normal one is actually 58. So I'm going to open it right there. Yep, this is the whole thing. So this is what it would look like if you were going to put the end caps on it, put the bearing. You can get that bearing from McMaster-Carr. You can make this piece too, right? That caps to the end. Got the little push-pull pin on the side. It's not a push-pull, it's just a pull pin. But it has two little ball bearings in the end and make it stick right there. So this would make it so you could rotate it. You know, you could build this square tube frame just out of whatever. And then this caster wheel pocket is a simple press brake part too. But there you go. This is kind of what you see there. But this is 58 because the original ones that I made are 58 because you can cut the piece of plate at a 4x5 and then you have 60 inches to work with. But Cut Sen you can only do 56 as it turns out. So let's open up. That's the Cut Sen one. I shortened it just so I could see what the cost would be on it. Oh my gosh. So much stuff open here. Let's go over here. Not there. There we go. So I actually have this one all the way sorted out. There it is. Okay, so I got two options going on. So this particularly is my housing that I make. So my thought was that I could sell you this piece press broke with the tab and keys on it ready to go, and you could weld it all up. The faceplate, you can see the tab and keys in the faceplate too, right there and right there. So the faceplate would all be done. It'd be drilled, tapped, tabbed, or keyed, and then all these parts would be press broken done, so you could weld it together. This outer flange or bulkhead the same way. And then if you go inside there, that bulkhead too, there's actually drain holes inside of this bulkhead now too, because you can imagine that you can't get it 100% sealed. There'd be oil inside of there. You want to let it get out, and then I always put the breather in between there and there. That way you don't get a bunch of oil splash coming out of it. So you'll be able to buy this machined part, this machined part. This machined part right here is drilled and tapped for this. So it has a dowel pin, two dowel pins, and then tab and key, or not tab and keys, but threaded bolt holes right there. So you just put an Allen drive in the top of that, and this would work for basically any 4/9 inch. Now this particular faceplate has the sizing in it, or not, sorry, this aluminum block has a sizing in it for my faceplate. I'm going to make a different one that's narrower, that basically, so you have to have a perfectly flat faceplate to use this, and then the tube is going to overlap too, and you can see where these pockets are right there for the overlap. So I'm going to make another one of these as well for a more of the universal fit, but I like this because this is supported all the way across. Like you can get all your welding done right here, and you have this giant heat sink. I mean, this piece of material probably weighs like 35 pounds, and it's all 6061. Like it absorbs a massive amount of heat. It's counterboard on the opposite side, so if we just take that little face out, you can see the counterbores on that side. And then I also put dowel pins on that direction, so let's turn this back on so we can see. So you can see the dowel pins on this direction, a dowel pin there, dowel pin there. That makes it so when you slap this back together, it actually goes right back in the same spot. There's dowel pins in this one as well, so this also gives you two options. You see I got two parts. I got another part overlapping right here. Let's turn that one off. Oh nope, turn the wrong one off. Got more than one thing going on in this thing. Turn this back on. And we need to turn off. Oh man, this one. There we go. You can see right there. Okay. So I did this two ways. This would be just your generic. This is your regular tube clamp. There would be a cut down the center of this. I just machine them all in one piece, and then I have a cool little fixture that I run them through the bandsaw. That gives you your interference, makes it fit nice. You know, actually like clamps the tube down, and then put your Allen bolt through there, and then nut on that side, and you're done. You could also put the Allen bolt to the other side if you could do whichever direction you so fit, right? But it's easy to put a nut right there. So then on this side though, this is like a bolt hole adapter that I would machine. You'd have, this is a dowel pin and this is a dowel pin to put this back on the table, and then you, instead of having 2-inch centers, which I could totally just add more holes to this, I don't know, give me some feedback. This bolt hole assembly, or this bolt hole adapter, 4 dowel pins there, and then it makes it so you can move it every 1 inch. Well, now you just take the Allen, drop it through there, and all these holes are threaded, and you just put that in there. So this is how my table is designed. I did it this way on mine, so I can do a really long housing because my table's super big, and then also I can do some adaptations to other types of pieces. So, and you could just put the bolt through and just you literally just drop the bolt in and just thread it in, and then there's dowel pins down the center right there. And that dowel pin makes it so you get this all back together perfectly concentric. So there'd be 2 options there. You would need the DXFs to make this thing, or I'm going to make them too, is kind of what my plan is. I have a local laser place that I can make them. So I would make this, I could put it together on my table, get it all tack welded together, and then ship it out tack welded, and you can finish weld it or whatever. We can make a deal and going from there. But trying to fill the gap between cheesy stuff that doesn't work super good, and then trying to make like an option. So let's just do this real quick. So trying to make an option that makes sense that more people could afford. So I've got my send cut send thing right here. I got a quote open, so let me open it. I know there's nothing going on the screen here. Right there. Here we go. So there's your long top plate, 56 inches long, 386 for that guy. You need 3 of these long ribs, and you can see that they're interlocked with each other. It's your $400 for those 3 ribs, and then you need 5 of those guys, or $110 on those, and then $55 a piece for the end caps. And then I actually put my shipping address in. They give you a full quote right there, so $1,025, let's round up, $1,025 for all your parts. So, and then I'm probably going to get $150 on the DXF. So you would be $1,200 into this thing, and then you would need this plate. This plate's probably going to be $350. This plate is probably going to be $150, and then these clamps are probably going to be all, with hardware and stuff, maybe $125, $150 a piece or something. So realistically, you could be coming in at $2,200 for a really trick fixture that's rigid, solid, all that stuff. So don't quote me directly on those free balled parts quotes right there, but the send cut send one is totally accurate. And then that's what I'm gunning for. That's what I would like to do. I just need to verify machine time, and this block of material is kind of expensive, just because it is what it is. It might be $550 for this piece. I just have to actually figure it out. But the beauty of it is remember, I make all my stuff in house. I don't have to let anybody else make this for me. So yeah, there you go. So this is, I want to release all this by the end of the year, so guys can make this stuff at home. It'd be a little bit of an investment for a guy that was only making 1 housing, but a guy who's making 3 or 4 housings a year. It's kind of a good investment, especially because now you're not at the whim. You don't have to wait for anybody else. And I intend on making changes to this as well, where this is a bigger gear case. I wanted a lot of gear oil in this thing for drag and drive, and the fact that people drive these things a whole bunch, that's kind of where my mind was at with this. And symmetrical, and I have the back braces too. These are all one piece. They require 5 minutes of, between the pair of them, you'll have 5 minutes into sanding and fitting to make them fit perfect, so you have TIG weldable gaps. So this thing is it's super nice. And then I have all the 4-link brackets, and I have all the other stuff too that I don't mind. I don't mind just making and selling as raw parts that you can weld together, so you can have the satisfaction of building your own housing 100% in house. So I'm going to stock the axle. I stocked 2 lengths of this axle tube, 3.5-inch 250 wall, 1026 DOM, and then I intend on making a 3-inch one too, but I don't know. It kind of just seems like if there's not a lot of demand for it, like I don't really see a big benefit to going to 3 inch other than saving a little bit of weight. But I already have like the through bolt perches, so you don't need, who cares about U bolts anymore? So you don't have that kerfluffle, and then you might as well just make it 3.5. Like the housing's really rigid then. So I do have plans of making this. This is currently configured as 10 gauge. Which is a little bit on the heavier side, but it welds really nice and it's extreme, like it's robust. But I'm probably gonna do a 90 thou chromoly version. I would have a smaller tabbing key and some things like that. So yeah, I have a bunch of options and things on the horizon as well. So none of the 9-inch bolt pattern stuff changes. These clamps don't change. This bolt pattern adapter wouldn't change, and this entire assembly wouldn't change, but the things that you can make on it would. So yeah, hopefully this has been informative, and I'm going to keep on making stuff, and I'll catch you guys next time.